This meeting of Wednesday, November 6, 2019 will now be called to order. First, we'll begin with public comments. Any public comments today? No? Come on.
Thank you. Members of the election board, thank you very much for having the public comments the day after the election. I'm Lawrence A. West-Gibson, Judge of Elections for the 22nd Ward, 26th Division. I've come here a few times mostly to complain about how bad things have gone, and this is the first time I get to say I have basically no complaints. The only real thing that happened yesterday is I had a committee person come in, refuse to show a poll watching certificate 3 times. At that point, I had to call the DA's office. They immediately produced a certificate. But after talking to a few other people in surrounding counties, I realized something, which is they have a basically, I'm going to call it the Title 25 notice. In the Pennsylvania state law, there's something called Title 25 that shows the penalties regarding elections and interference that relates to election workers, poll watchers, things like that. I think displaying the Title 25 notice mandatory in every polling place could help make sure things like what happened yesterday don't happen throughout the city. It makes it very clear what the responsibilities are of the election workers, poll watchers, and what the penalties are if the duties are not met. Additionally, other than that, the new machines worked fine overall. The biggest problem I had at my polling place was with the seals. It's not really explained right now in the book or in any of the paperwork how the seals work at the end of the night. So we had a problem with the red seals. I at least want to point that out. We did everything we could. And same with the opening seals too. There was a little bit of confusion, so I think clarifying that in the updated updated election handbook would be a big benefit. And in regards to machines, I have just one last thing. At one point, we spoiled a voter's ballot. And after that, I was called to the machine because there was a problem. And the problem was, allegedly, what I was told was they touched nothing on the screen, but it's voted a straight Republican ticket for them. I talked to tech immediately, and they said it's most likely because of dirt on the screen at some location may have caused the problem. And after speaking to my machine tech throughout the day, it had happened a few more times, but not for that particular party. Just there were irregularities with the selections in various ways. So I do want to bring that to your attention now, since this is basically a trial run for these machines. It could just be they're just a little too sensitive. I work in technology myself. I'm a coder, designer, things like that. I deal with touchscreen sensitivity to some degree, and that could just be a calibration issue, but I do want to bring it to your attention at this point in time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments?
Hi, my name is Strahs. I'm from 15-6. So I wasn't going to speak today. I just want to be as clear as I can be that there are a wide range of problems that were exhibited in these machines yesterday. Admittedly, some of them probably just due to, this was the first, the tryout, and there are always glitches and things that can be improved. That's clearly a part of it, but there were also some very serious concerns. I think perhaps some that the press mentioned. There were ballots spoiled on their own by the machine itself. It happened like 3 times in my precinct. There were real serious concern about not being able to read the paper to verify, of course, one's selections, and that's a structural issue with these machines. That paper is too small, people can't read it. On top of that, however, there is an issue of the lighting being very poor, which is something that could be improved in some election districts. But the fact that people really aren't able to read that piece of paper is a huge issue because it undermines the very rationale for buying these new, allegedly more secure vote machines. So that's pretty much it. Spoiled ballots, not being able to use the paper for verification. I'll leave it at that. I wasn't going to say anything. I just wanted to be clear. We've got some serious problems, some of which can't be addressed by the correct machines.
Thank you. All right, next comment, please.
Good morning. I'm Murielle McCarthy. I live in 2nd Ward, Division 26. I worked the polls yesterday with Division 27 and 29 as well, and I worked in my division. We had multiple error problems with the machines. Our machines reported 2 votes more than our paper records showed. We double-checked everything. We called the BOE. They just said, just don't worry about it. We were not able to print out the write-in report. Also, Division 29 had the same problem. We had one voter get timed out. She said she didn't do anything. She wasn't prompted. She said she didn't touch the screen. Division 29 had the same problem, once that I know of. People complained that they couldn't read the summary, that the print was too small, and it was poorly lit. My representative came through, Representative Isaacson, and suggested that we tell voters to use their phones to illuminate the summary when they read it to compensate for the poor lighting of the machine. There were multiple complaints that the screen was so sensitive that it triggered selections of candidates. The inspector in my Division 26 said that he had that problem when he was setting up the machine. My committee person said that she was just scanning her hand over the screen without touching it, and it started triggering it. So apparently it's hypersensitive. I would like to change subjects here and talk about yesterday. Judge Clemons said that the public is allowed to see the commingling that was supposed to start today. It did not start today at 7 o'clock as the board had indicated it would. Would it be possible, based on Judge Clemons' decision, to let us know, please, when the commingling is supposed to happen? And could you please be very specific as to where it's supposed to happen? At 4700 Wickinson Avenue is the address that we were provided. It was a huge building. We could provide specific place as well. What time, how many people are allowed, etc. That would be great. And who do we talk to follow up, please, to find that information out? Thank you.
Thank you. That release was a query that was made earlier, responded to by letter, and it should also be on the website. And if you have any further questions beyond what's in the content of the letter, please feel free to contact the Commissioner's office for any clarification necessary. All right, next comment, please.
Good morning. My name is Emma Tramble, and I'm here representing myself as a citizen. I have 2 specific issues. I vote at the polling place that has actually 2 divisions, 4618 and 4616. I voted at approximately 6:30 p.m. yesterday, and I live in 4618. My wait time was 35 minutes. For 4616, there were people, 35 to 40 people in line at one time, and people were complaining that they had been at the poll for approximately 1.5 hours. Some people did get out of line, most people stayed in line. I do have a concern that that poll in particular has an uptick in just voter activity over the last few years, and I'm very concerned about what might happen during the primary, and that people may be disenfranchised because they will get out of line because they waited too long. So that probably could be remedied by having an extra machine, but that's above my pay grade. But I'm just putting it out there. Another thing is I actually have a tech background similar to the person that testified before, and I had an opportunity to stand outside of room 140 for 2 hours and test the machine. I was given a stack of ballots, and they basically let me test the usability of the machine. I did notice that if your finger was close to the screen but not touching, it would activate the light. I did notice that when I was voting, the light was deselected when I actually didn't touch it. There was a glitch with straight party voting when I was testing it. This was about 3 weeks ago. I did talk to a representative from Commissioner Schmidt's office. I'm gonna make sure I'm saying that right. That was addressed, which was pretty cool. But there are still some issues with the back end of the software where it's not actually behaving like you would expect a touchscreen to behave. I don't want to go into technical specifics, but it's pretty replicable. There are problems with the machine around straight party voting. I would like to see if, I don't know how much testing was done on the screens, or, I mean, for someone to stand there for 2 hours that has a tech background, it was quite a luxury, and I really appreciate that the Commissioner's Office let me do that, and also I filmed how to use the machines for a grass seeds initiative that I run called My Family Votes, and it had quite a bit of traffic, because it went beyond what the Commissioner's Office video showed. Like we were showing them what the parties were going to look like real specifics, that a lot of voters said that the video was short on like details. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Yeah.
Instead of sending you back.
It's good.
Good morning, my name is Laura C. Dijols, Dijols, and I just wanted to, I hadn't intended to make any comments, but since Commissioner Park invited, I believe it was you, to come with public comment, I just wanted to say, first of all, I want to thank city commissioners for giving us an opportunity to use the new voting machines, to teach the citizenry how to use them. And my organization, I'm not standing here to represent them, but I'll mention National Action Network, Phila, we had 4 opportunities for people to come in and use the machines. They were pleased, and they felt confident that when they arrived to vote yesterday, that it would be basically a breeze. And I think, according to my experience yesterday, it went very well. I did have to stand in line for maybe about 15 minutes, I'm not sure. However, that wasn't, a high price to pay. I had a couple of challenges when I used the machine yesterday. Now, don't ask me why, but maybe because it was the real deal, it wasn't the test. But I ended up having a selection made that I know I didn't make. But I happened to catch it before the ballot, was actually printed, you see, so I was able to make that correction. And I also found that in the actual use of the machine on election day, I definitely had to be sure to press right in the middle. Otherwise, it would select something else. I don't know what that was about. I'm not a techie person. I was very satisfied with the number of citizens that showed up to vote. And we were very concerned about having full engagement. And we were beginning to see the fruits of our labor. People are getting engaged, they are getting their petitions and running for offices, and we're having more competition. And competition will help to keep us healthy. And we will have a true democracy. I just wanted to say that next time we open up the workshops for training, I would appreciate it if you have enough staff, because people did start scheduling lots and lots of sessions, and we had our fifth one we weren't able to hold because we didn't have enough staff to come. And thanks for the reminder card that showed the machine. I thought that was helpful. I think maybe if you would add another mailing, third, second or third, I believe would be extremely helpful. I'd like to know, can you do something else over the radio? I listen to Black Talk Radio, WRD 900 AM. So I would appreciate if you could get some type of PSA in more detail to broadcast there. I also listen to KY Radio to get this. Thank you very much, and congratulations to the winners.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Morning, my name's Rich Garella, Garella. I want to just mention my personal experience, and I'll just keep to the things that are purely objective. So I'm a voter in Ward 36, Division 41. I spoiled my ballot because I wanted to change it, and it seemed that the poll workers did not receive very much good training, or perhaps very much training. It took them a while to figure out what to do. They seemed confused, and we discussed it as if they'd never heard of it, really. Then one of them entered the poll booth without asking me to fill in an assistive declaration, and it raises the question, is an assistive declaration required in that situation or not? Because under state law, it appears to be required any time a poll worker would enter the booth. So I would love to have clarification on why it is not required if it's not. The other thing that came up that was most notable there, all they did was they put in the code, which is printed in giant letters on a lanyard that you can see from across the room. And they put in the code eventually and got the machine to kick out my ballot. And then they just took it away and handed me a new ballot. There was I understand that there's supposed to be a procedure where I spoil the ballot, I put a sticker on. They just took it away, they could see it. I don't know if they looked, I don't care if they looked, but they could look, and that's not supposed to be how it happens. I don't think we should have a machine where a poll worker has to come into the booth to spoil the ballot, and that feature at least should be fixed. The other very surprising thing that happened was when I went to put the new ballot into the machine, I discovered they gave me 2 ballots. I could have voted twice. Nothing would have stopped me from voting those 2 ballots and throwing the count off and getting an extra vote that couldn't have been fixed. Of course, I immediately pointed this out to them and gave them the other ballot back. But where this problem comes from, I believe, is the fact that these ballots violate election law in that they are not torn off of numbered stubs. All of a sudden, I realized why election law requires that ballots put into an automatic tabulating device be torn off from numbered perforated stubs. These ballots are just coming off like a block of ballots in cellophane, and when they pulled one out, they pulled another one out, and they didn't even realize it. That's something that really needs to be addressed. So I mentioned these things that just happened to me personally at random to say that I think that the problems were a very great number and kind and were fairly well widespread. And this is supported by the questionnaire that Protect Our Vote Philly put out. We've been looking at the initial results from about 100 responses, and there are many completely unprompted problems that relate to people's ability to verify their ballots, that relate to security problems that people observed. Oh, I forgot to mention, on the machine I used, there was no yellow security seal over the USB access compartment, And we received several reports of people finding that access door completely open, where they could see the USB stick sitting right there in plain view, not sealed, not locked. So, got some issues there that I think really need to be addressed. And I hope to see the Board of Elections and the Commissioner's Office showing us some real findings on how widespread these things were. Separate topic, when you mentioned to Murielle to contact the Commissioner's Office for information on when it would make sense to go up to 4,700 Wissahickon, could I just confirm that the main, if the public calls the main number of the Commissioner's Office, they could get that information from the main number, or is there any other number that they should call?
My information is the main number.
Main number. Okay, great, thank you. And lastly, I believe it was previously announced that the canvass would begin Friday morning at 9 a.m. Is that still the scheduled beginning with the canvass? Okay, great.
That's what was told to me earlier and confirmed with the deputy.
I'm sorry?
That's what was told to me earlier and confirmed by the deputy, my deputy. Is that your information, Commissioner Clark, as well?
I'm sorry?
I said, I was just confirmed.
Oh, okay. Great. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you. Any further comments?
Hi, my name is Meg Berlin. I vote in
Keep
the,
your voice up, please.
I'm sorry. My name is Meg Berlin. I vote in the 5th Ward 6th Precinct. I note that you were thanked for showing the public the machines before the election took place. It's really a shame that the commissioners didn't see fit to poll the electorate to see what machines they liked before they made the choice. That's what other municipalities have done. It wasn't done in Philadelphia, and I think that's a shame. Because the problems that have been described here today are unique to this particular system. We had hand paper ballots, the people wouldn't be worrying about whether they touched the machine or didn't touch the machine and it went off. They wouldn't have to be reviewing something that came out, oh, and I still didn't get to read my barcode, so I don't know whether my vote actually did count. Although people say I have confidence because they read what the thing said, but that wasn't what was tabulated. What was tabulated, as you well know, was the barcode. You probably already know that in Northampton County, the Republicans have filed a challenge because they say that the results weren't fair or they weren't accurately tabulated. We can forecast that next year, if the Republicans lose or the Democrats lose, the losing party is going to issue, try to get an injunction. This is a failure of this system. I know that this system has been used. I know the commissioners think that it's going to be used in 2020. I sincerely hope it won't be. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Hi, my name is Mike Ewall. I voted for the Spruance School in Northeast Philadelphia. I don't remember what the district numbers are on it. But the one thing...
Remember the word?
I have to look it up. I'm sorry. I don't have that in hand. The one issue that I know did come up at that polling place was that when the results were printed, they did not show the write-ins. And I know personally I wrote 2 things in on my ballot, and I know other folks who were also there casting write-in votes that just did not show up on the results at all. So that's a concern. But I think all the folks who just spoke before me raised very serious and legitimate concerns. I didn't notice problems myself with the machine, but the idea that there could be overcounts, that there could be people handed extra ballots, that's, even though what I read, it matched what I put into the machine, if that's not actually what's being tabulated, and we're tabulating things based on barcode scans, there are a lot of systemic problems with this, and I think it would be very dangerous for our democracy if we had these kinds of machines being used in next year's election, and I hope that they will be replaced with a paper system that does not have all these vulnerabilities. I also have been a computer professional at various points in my life, and I know that these machines are vulnerable to hacking, to things that could be programmed into them. I don't remember if this is the specific company that was owned by Republicans before that promised to elect Bush years ago with their electronic voting machines, but some of the voting companies did have that as an issue, and it just raises this issue of why are we buying electronic voting machines when we can't trust what's actually going on inside the machine. Based on how the vote is tabulated. We don't know what's going to come out, even if we verify that printout. So I think something that is more verifiable will make a lot more sense, and whatever was spent on this should be a sunk cost as we move towards something more reliable.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, hearing no response, we'll go to supervisory reports by Kevin Kelly and Kevin Richards.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Commissioner. As of today, the county board has received a total of 4,831 applications for absentee ballots, 1,068 civilians, 1,546 alternative, 1,868 online applications, 113 walk-in applications, 105 civilian overseas, and 24 military applications for yesterday's general election. All have been processed and mailed out. We have received back 3,043 completed ballots. The military and civilian overseas ballots must be received no later than November 12, 2019. And we have received 107 emergency applications. And actually, we got some in yesterday. We got a lot in yesterday that had to go to court. And as we speak, the staff's processing them now, so I don't have the exact number of them yet. We'll have that a little later today. And that's it.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Commissioner. As of yesterday, obviously there was a slight uptick in phone calls for opening and closing polls based on the new system, but there's nothing that wasn't anticipated. And during the middle of the day, it was business as usual, just where do I go vote, things of that nature. And as of right now, we are unpacking boxes down at Delaware and Spring Garden, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, having no further business, this meeting is adjourned.